Unit 5 Communication and Extension Teaching Method. Unit 5 Communication and Extension Teaching Method. Topic: Communication and its function. Basic concept of communication. Type of communication. Communication Communication origin Latin communis, meaning common. Communication is a conscious attempt to share information, idea, attitude, and the like with other. Roger and Schumacher, 1971. The process by which messages are transferred from a source to receiver. Liggins, 1961. The process by which two or more people exchanging idea, fact, feeling, or impressions in way that is gain a common understanding of the meaning, intent, and use of messages. Basic function of communication. Basic function of communication. Information function. Basic requirement of adapting and adjusting oneself to the environment. Command or instructive functions in hierarchical structure. Influence or persuasive functions. Sole purpose of communication barely intensive function. Basic concept of communication. Basic concept of communication. Communication fidelity. Faithful performance of communication process by all its elements. Communicators, message channels, and receivers. Noise and fidelity are two sides of the same coin. Communication gap refer to difference between what was communicated by the extension agent and what has actually been received by the audience. Where the message does not reach the target, communication must be made available. Communication must be need based. Communication must be in time. Communication must be used more than one channel. Where the message failed to produce desired impact, use credible channel. Repeat the message at suitable interval. Precaution against message distortion. Increase understandability and give complete information. Time lag in communication. Time lag in communication. Delay at different element level in communication process. Empathy. Ability on the part of one person to understand the other person's internal frame of mind and reference and accept it. Ability of an individual to project oneself into the role of another person to be able to appropriate the feeling, thinking, and action of another person. Homophily. Homophily. It refers to the degree to which a pair of individuals communicates are similar in certain attributes such as belief, education, social status, and the like. Heterophily. It refers to the degree to which pair of individuals who interact are different in certain attributes. Propaganda. Propaganda, deliberate manipulation of people's belief, value, and behavior through words, gesture, image, thought, music. It aims at presenting only propagandist side of argument without considering receivers a side. It suppresses the truth and authoritarian in approach in influencing the people. Publicity, similar to propaganda but based on truth. Persuasion, persuasion, more democratic approach for influencing the people to bring desirable change. Extension agent provide lot of argument in favor of acceptance of the recommendation. Opinion leadership. Opinion leadership. Degree to which an individual is able to influence other individual attitude or overt behavior informally in a desired way with relative frequency. Type of communication. Type of communication. Interpersonal communication with one is self organizing and converting sensory data into many meaningful messages. It is co-function of individual and his immediate environment. Example: reading newspaper, talking with soul, etc. Interpersonal occurs in face-to-face manner where participants can see, hear, and even touch each other. Organizational organization organizational an organization is a stable system of individuals who work together to achieve through hierarchy of rank and division of labor. Vertical communication, horizontal communication, diagonal communication, inter-organizational, inter-organizational between two systems of organization. Mode of communication. Mode of communication. Contextual. Contextual. Different contextual difference in situation lead to different mode of communication. Aristotle's communication model, most primitive model, speaker, speech, audience. Barlow's communication model, source, message, channel, receiver. Lagan's communication model, communicator, message, channel, treatment, audience, response. Element of communication. Element of communication. First, communicator. Initiate the process of communication. Factor for effectiveness of communicator. Attitude, self, subject matter, and receive knowledge. The source need to know his subject matter as well as how to communicate effectively. Communicate communication skill. Communication skill. Five verbal communication skill. Encoding skill, writing and speaking, decoding skill, reading and listening, thought or reasoning is crucial to both skill. Position in social system. Position in social system. Communication competence, fundamental competence, social competence, interpersonal competence, achievement of outcomes, linguistic components, communication components, message focus, relationship component, relation between behavior and outcomes. Credibility. Credibility means trustworthiness and competence. Message. Second, message. Information which is relevant to a particular set of audience constitute the message. A good message should be in line with objective, understandable, in line with capability of audience, significant economically, socially, to need and interest of audience, specific, accurate, timely, applicable, manageable. Dimension of a message. Dimension of a message. The message code group of symbols structure in meaningful way to some person. The message contact material in message selected by source to express purposes. The message treatment decision of selecting and arranging both code and contact to achieve comprehension. Channel. Channel medium through which information flow from a sender to one or more receiver. Face to face, word of mouth is simplest, widely used and effective means of communication in developing countries. Classification of channels of communication according to farm, spoken, farm and home visit, farmers call, radio talk, etc. Written, personal letter, farm publication, newsletter, etc. According to nature of personal involved. According to nature of personal involved, personal localized, local people who belong to the receiver own a social system, person face to face contact over occur important in traditional social system, personal cosmopolite channel of communication outside the social system of the receiver. Personal face-to-face contact occur important in changing the farmer from traditional to modern. Example: extension agent. In person, cosmopolite channels of communication are outside the social system of the receiver. At the same time, no person face-to-face contact involved. Example: mass media. according to the nature contact with the people. According to the nature of contact with the people, individually contact individual contact with each receiver with maintaining separate identity of each person. Farm and home visit, farmers call person later etc. Group contact, when people are contacted in group, example group meeting, field day or farmer day etc. Mass contact, when people are contact in a mass of people, example companion, exhibition, radio, television etc. Treatment and presentation, treatment and presentation, treatment and presentation. Treatments may treatments mean way a message is processed so that the information get across to the audience. Purpose of the treatment is to make the message clear, understandable, and realistic to the audience. Treatment and presentation of the message shall depend to a great extent on choice of channel and nature of audience. 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 The audience or receiver of message is the target of communication function. Communicator to be successful must be audience oriented. The communicator must know their audience, their need, interest, resources, facilities, constraint, and even their approximate number and location. Audience segmentation. Audience segmentation. It is a communication strategy that consists of identify certain audience within a total audience and then convey a special message to each of these sub audience. Break down a heterophilous audience into a series of relatively more homophilous sub audience in which different communication channel and message are used with each sub audience. Audience response. Audience response. Response of the audience is the ultimate objective of any communication function. May be in form of some kind of action, mental or physical, kind of response, understanding versus knowledge, acceptance versus rejection, remembering versus forgetting, mental versus physical, right versus wrong. Feedback. Carrying some significant response of the audience to the communicator, it should be continuous process. Type of feedback. Type of feedback. Self feedback. Words and action that are feedback into your central nervous system as you perceive your own muscular movement and hear yourself speak. Listener feedback. It involves verbal responses. It may take in the form of questions or comments. Beside it, there are two other types: fact-based feedback, feedback given on the basis of self-experience or observation of the ground realities. Opinion-based feedback given on the basis of opinion on the individual and not on the fact of message. Function of feedback. Function of feedback. To evaluate right or wrong, it can stimulate change. To reinforce, to give rewards or punishment. Characteristics of feedback. Characteristics of feedback: source oriented, vary situation to situation, affect the source or communicator, exert control over future message, maintain the stability and equilibrium in communication system. Barrier or communication. Barriers of communication. Barrier pertaining to communicator. Discarded with value and customs of the audience. Less knowledge about the message itself. Lack of knowledge about people, their need, interest and ability. Little knowledge of the method of communication. Barrier pertaining to message. Barrier pertaining to message. Message is not applicable, irrelevant, complex, unattractive, and non-clear. Message conflict with value of audience. Message is unrealistic with local skill and resources. Message does not have frame to reference with previous knowledge. Barrier pertaining to audience. Barrier pertaining to audience. Audience does not have self-interest. Audience does not understand the importance of communication. Traditional bound and does not adopt new technology. Fatalistic in nature and do not believe in skill and knowledge. Semiotic barrier. Semiotic barrier. The communication barrier where people attach different meaning to things. Technical barrier. The problem of accuracy of information transferred from sender to receiver. Communication and extension teaching method. Communication and extension teaching method. Individual method. Individual method. Extension worker communicate with the people individually, maintaining separate identity of each personal method. Less number of audience locate nearby, having sufficient time with communicated. Farm and home visit, farmers call, personal letter, adaptive or mini kit trial, farm cleaning, etc. Farm and home visit. Direct face-to-face contact by the extension worker with the farmer or the member of his family at his home or his farm for a specific purpose. Farmer's call. A call made by a farmer at the worker's place of the extension agent for obtaining information and assistance. Personal letter written by extension agent to particular farmer in connection with extension work. However, it should not be regarded as substitute for personal contact. Adaptive or mini kit trial. A method of determining suitability of a new practices in farmer situation. It is on farm participatory technology development process. It is first stage a new and improved practices passes through before it taken up for result or method demonstration. Farm clinic, a facility developed and extended to the farmers of for diagnostic and treatment of farm problem and to provide some specialist advice to individual farmer. Group method. Group method. Extension worker communicate with a group of people. Small group 50 to 25, medium group 25 to 50, large group 50 to 100. Opportunity to make face-to-face contact with a number of people at a time. Facilitate sharing of knowledge and experience to a group. Group influence help to change the people. Cost effective, higher mobilization and stimulation than mass method. Method demonstration, result demonstration, group discussion, group meeting, training, field day or farmers day, study tour, companion exhibition, etc. Method demonstration. Method demonstration. It gives to people who are showing how to carry out an entirely new practices or an old practices in a better way. It essentially a skill training where the emphasis is on effectively carrying out a job. Result demonstration. Result demonstration. It concerned with why a practice should be adopted by showing the value of new practices over old one. It is conducted by farmer in the direct supervision of extension worker. Group discussion or group meeting. A group is a body of individuals drawn together around a common interest. Such group reaching collectively decision through cooperative discussion. Training, a technique of imparting a specific skill to a group of people who need them by creating an appropriate learning situation. Field day or farmers day, a method of motivating people to adopt a new practice by showing what has actually been achieved by applying the practices under field conditions. A study tour, a group of interested people accompanied by and guided by one or more extension agents move out of their neighborhood to study and learn significant improvement in farm elsewhere. Companion. Companion, an intensive teaching activity undertaken at opportunity moment of a brief period focusing focusing attention in a concerned manner toward a particular problem so as to stimulate the widest possible interest in the community. Exhibition. Exhibition. It is a systemic display or model, specimen, chart, poster, video, etc. in a sequence so as to create interest in the participating farmers. Mass contact method. Mass contact method. Farm publication. Farm publication. It is a class of publication prepared by extension agency in written form to communicate for information. This can be used signally or in combination of other extension method. Leaflet, a single printed sheet of paper, sometimes holder. It contains preliminary or specific information on a specific topic. It is made as and when needed, generally distributed free of cost. Folder. It is a single printed sheet of paper of big size, folded once or twice, and give essential information related to particular topic. It is made as and when needed, generally distributed free of cost. Bulletin. Bulletin. It is a printed bound booklet with a number of pages containing comprehensive information about a topic. It is made as and when needed. A small price may be fixed for some bulletin. Farm magazine. Farm magazine. These are periodical containing information related to various topics of interest not only for farmers but also for extension agent. News shelter. News shelter. It is miniature newspaper is a good quality paper containing information related to activity and achievement of the organization. Mass meeting. It helps to communicate interesting and useful information to a large audience at a time. Newspaper. It is a bunch of loose printed paper properly folded which contain news, view, advertisement, etc. Radio. Radio. It is a medium for mass communication, a total for giving information and entertainment. Objective to reach large number of people quickly and inexpensively, to reach people not reached by other means, to stimulate participation in extension through all other media, to build enthusiasm and maintain interest. Television. Television, an audiovisual ad used for mass communication, designated to help in the presentation of material and transfer of information to make them easily and clearly understandable, appreciable, and applicable. This medium is more personal than radio. The viewer meets the speakers in a stimulated face-to-face situation even though the speaker does not share this relationship. Two types of television media are available for teaching purpose. Broadcast television. In these programs are aired over a large geographical area. Closed circuit television. These users take a video single form tape or CD and carry it over a cable to one or more mention. Selection and the use of extension teaching method. Selection and use of extension teaching method. Selection of method. Selection of method. The audience. Individual or collective difference. Size of audience. The teaching objective. The teaching objective. The extension worker should keep in mind that what kind of change to bring in the audience. Change in thinking, mass media, change in attitude, group discussion, change in skill, method demonstration. The subject matter. The subject matter. If a new practice is simple and familiar news article or radio. If a new practice is complex and non-familiar, face-to-face contact, written material or AV ads. The stage of development of extension organization. At initial stage of extension work, result demonstration will be necessary to create confidence among farmers. For well-established extension work, illustration by local leader will be sufficient. Size of extension staff. Large number of extension staff mean higher scope of personal contact. The availability of certain communication media. Availability of certain communication media like newspaper, radio, telephones, etc. will have direct bearing on the extent to which this method can be used. And extension workers' familiarity. Skill to use method influence the choice and use of method. Combination of method. Combination of method. Combined use of several different methods is of the utmost importance in extension teaching. The adoption of practices was found to be high when more than 5 methods were used as compared to single and 2 to 5 method. Using the method in proper sequence. Using the method in proper sequence, the extension plan of work must include method to enable farmer to see, hear and do the things to be learned to reach large number of people and create confidence building situation. Completed plans should provided not only doing these things but must be so organized that the completed plan as a unit does all the things. One method helps another, and many of them are used in combination and sequence to repeat the story. Organized, followed up teaching activity means more improvement in farm and home conditions. Thank you.